Do you want to know how to motivate your kids? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting and good communication, as well as how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about motivation. I know that we've all tried saying, yay, you did it, or you can do it, you can do it. We try to get as animated and as excited as we can to help our children, and then they look at us like, who are you? What has just happened here? Because it didn't work. It fell flat. When children are toddlers, they can become easily motivated by cheering and giving some hurrahs, but what about when they're a little bit older than that? What do we need to do to help them choose to be motivated? You heard me right, it is a choice. In this video, we're going to be talking about self-government and how much choice we really have when it comes to our motivation. So self-government is a principle of freedom, and the definition of self-government is being able to determine the cause and effect of any given situation and possessing a knowledge of your own behaviors so that you can control them. So what that means is that you understand cause and effect and you understand yourself. I hope you see how just that relates to motivation. So often people think that it is somebody else's job to motivate them. And that's just not true. If you understand true principles of motivation, then you know it's a choice that you make yourself to be motivated or not to be motivated. Now, I did have a circumstance the other day where I was talking to a person who was explaining her lack of motivation to me. And I thought, well, that's very unfortunate. I'm very motivated. I'm choosing to be motivated today. And the more I talked to her and the more I talked to her, the more I realized that her lack of motivation was slightly rubbing off on me. I started to feel kind of lazy, and by the end of the conversation I said, okay, I'm now having motivation problems. I've got to choose to do something different. Next thing I'm going to do is this. And she said, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to transfer my lack of motivation to you. And I said, no, that's totally fine. But it's a good reminder that motivation can be contagious. So do you want your child to be motivated about learning, about chores, about working, about family? You've got to be motivated too. It's got to be something that you care about. Your example to your child makes a lot of difference. Can you maintain your level of motivation within yourself? That's going to make a big difference. I do believe in taking B12 tablets every day. Just so you know, put one of those babies under your tongue. It makes a big difference. Whether I've had my exercise or not, which also helps, by the way, having some physical activity, some exercise, helps you be motivated in almost every other thing that you do in your life. Whether I have any of those things going well for me, I still know that I can make a choice to motivate myself or not to. I can choose to give myself instructions and follow through. So if you've already subscribed to this channel, then you know I talk about things like the 4 basic skills of self-government. So I love skills, and we definitely need more skills in our society, more adult skills, so that we're more in control of ourselves instead of blaming everyone else for everything that happens to us negatively in our lives. So the basic of all basic skills is to be able to follow instructions. And the sign of a truly self-governed person is that that person can give themselves instructions and follow through. So there are 5 steps to following an instruction. You look at the person, keep a calm face, voice, and body, say okay or ask to disagree appropriately, do the task immediately, and then check back. When a person has learned all 5 of these steps to following instructions, then that person should be able to start giving themselves instructions. First, they practice those 5 steps to following an instruction with their parent or somebody else who's giving them direction. And over time, they start applying the concept to themselves. That is how a person motivates, by giving themselves instructions and following through. But sometimes you might need a little bit more than just what to do in the minute. You might need a reason why. So in the teaching self-government parenting system, we start with what we call a family vision. The family vision gives the whole family a reason why they would care about the family relationships. Then we check upon that family vision by doing family meetings together on a regular basis. The family meetings are a time where we gather and discuss our relationships, how we need to improve, and problems that we need to solve. I talk about all those things on this channel, so feel free to look around for anything that you want, and make sure that you know that you can find all of the information and training at teachingselfgovernment.com. So a person who is motivated has a plan. They check up on the plan. They know how to direct themselves. They oftentimes are very aware of the consequences. When a person is self-governed, then they know there's positive consequences and negative consequences. So good parenting involves teaching children about positive consequences through praise, and also negative consequences through correction. So when your child is wanting to motivate themselves to follow an instruction, couldn't it be a really great thing for them to set up a positive consequence that would help push them toward their desired goal? I say yes, although a positive consequence only works for a short period of time. I usually tell people using a positive consequence or a positive motivation for the child is probably only going to work for about 2 weeks tops. After that, if the child doesn't have buy-in, then probably the misbehavior will start to come back, and they won't be able to stay the course with doing the positive thing that they want to. Now, it does take at least 21 days usually for a person to develop a good habit. There is always hoping that in the 2-week period you could develop a full habit and it would launch them forward, even though they're not going to have the positive motivation anymore after that 2-week period. But truthfully, somewhere in there they had to make a choice, and that's what we want them to understand, is they get the opportunity to make a choice. And this is why we praise and we correct after they get the opportunity to follow through on their instructions. Now, there is something that is very motivating for children. I've talked about this in other videos related to motivation, and that is having a mentor meeting. So if you have mentor meetings with your children, they get the opportunity to get buy-in on their academics, their chores, their spiritual goals, their relationships, everything. So what are you wanting to motivate your child toward? You want them to be motivated to be more honest, or motivated to clean their room and do their chores, or do you want them to be motivated to do better in school? Either way, this book is a good solution. So let's take a look at this book. You see at the top that there is a place where you write down the date, the person conducting, and then there's exciting news that they have. So we start our meeting off by talking about what we have accomplished or things that are exciting to share. Then we have our calendar. Now this calendar is going to be filled out as you go through the other 4 focus areas that are included in the discussion in this booklet. And they keep the booklet so that they can refer to it on a daily basis to consult their schedule and their goals and commitments that they are working on. So what are the 4 areas of proper development or whole child development? Those 4 areas are personal development, spiritual development, social development, and academic development or intellectual development. So those 4 areas help a child develop themselves completely. As much as we'd like to say that we develop our children, we don't. We create the environment and the conversations where they get buy-in to decide to develop themselves. Some of them are pretty rebellious and they truly don't care. If you've got a rebel tendency child, be sure to watch my video all about the tendencies, the 4 tendencies, and rebel tendency, because that is definitely going to help you speak more to that rebel tendency way of processing to help them maybe have a little bit more buy-in so that they can self-motivate. We have just begun talking about self-government. There's so much that I could share that would help you motivate your children and help them follow instructions. One of those is a video all about following instructions. And the name of the video is Following Instructions, A Lesson in Obeying.